rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Why? It's because the rich think about wealth and affluence all the time. And what do the poor think about? The poor think about lack, loss, and limitation, risk, danger, fear, failure.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Fortitude Investing channel. Just wanted to get this out here. I am no longer recording on my cell phone. Super funny, right? I actually have a mic now. Super excited about that. Definitely makes this recording stuff a lot easier. But of course, that's not what's important. So obviously today, this morning, the markets were more or less leaning towards not like a bear market, but they were just kind of consolidating a little bit lower than normal, right? You saw Bitcoin dip down into the 111,000, XRP I think maybe even dipped even as low as $2.78, coming down there a little bit. Some really good support. But then later on today, we've kind of just seen a really good rally. And this is a macro, not a micro, a macro throughout the entire stock market, not just the crypto market. And props to Ethereum for a new all-time high. That's freaking awesome. So again, short-term price action is not what we're necessarily looking at. But what Jerome Powell did say today, was hinting a lot at market stability, talking just kind of how where we're at as an economy and the job market, inflation, so on and so forth. And it seemed like he was pretty well hinting at a rate cut. And I'm not complaining. I think it's a good thing. I think that they are probably a little too high. But do not expect some, majestic, huge rate cut. I could see maybe a 20 to 50 basis point cut, going into September at the next FOMC meeting. But do not expect something crazy. We're not going to get a 1% rate, we're not going to get down to 1% rates. That would be incredible, but probably not going to happen. So more than anything, I just want to say, hey, this is going to just kind of ease the market. It's going to help make things a lot better, and it clears up a lot of uncertainty of kind of where we were going as a whole. And this is a macro as the entire stock market, not just the crypto. So I think it's a good thing that we all kind of rallied here today, and I think that's a good thing. I hope that you guys bought the dips. I posted the other day, and I said, hey, we should probably be buying some of these dips. Some very good bottoms. We haven't seen $2.70 other than that one little dip back in the beginning of August. Again, I was buying. But more than anything, if you missed it, so be it. Continue to just keep dollar cost averaging. That's the most important part about this, guys. That's so important. And it doesn't have to be thousands and thousands of dollars. It's whatever you can afford, and not overdo it to where you may have to, later on when things get difficult, say in life and just in general, where you may have to pull that money out. I always say, we don't want to take profits on something that has barely gone up, right? We don't want to buy XRP at $3 and then at $3.05, like, oh crap, probably didn't take profit. Like, no, we're not here for that. We're here for the long term. Unless you're trading, but that's not what my platform is about. You do whatever you want with with day trading and stuff like that. I'm trying to help the everyday investor or the person who is just starting out. Right? I feel like that's where the majority of people are trying to learn and to grow, and to realize that, looking at, what you see on TikTok where people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars in a day, that's not what this is about. We're not about making that much money that quickly, right? We are building generational wealth here. And it's so important to know that sometimes that amount of money, yes. Would it be helpful? Of course. But sometimes it's more about building the person who you need to be to accept that kind of wealth. And I'd really like to hammer in on, wealth is not money. It's a belief in oneself to go beyond the limits of mediocrity and find true passion. I made that up myself. That's not a quote that I'm stealing from anybody else, at least that I know of. But I really like that. I think that represents a good take on what wealth really is. So as a whole, we don't need to be in the get rich quick. We need to be dollar cost averaging, having a stoic mindset, consistently day in and day out, making sure that we can put money aside, live below our means, and continue to keep growing our investments. Because as a crypto investor, we know where this market's going to go, and if we play silly games, we're going to win silly prizes. You play in the meme coin casino, you play silly games, you get silly prizes, right? I look at it as, where is the real world value in these tokens? And if there is value in those tokens, then that's what we should be investing in. That's why I'm so heavy on Bitcoin and XRP. That's why I'm heavy on Ethereum. That's why I'm looking into other things outside of those, as in, HBAR, Zebek, XLM, and stuff like that. This is the future, and we need to find value in the future. Right. I really like, it was a lot of what, Brad Garlinghouse said, if the coin has value, then it's probably going to be worth something in the future. So all in all, just know what you're investing in, right? Know what your token that you're investing in does, how it works, right? Because you want to know what you're investing in. That's the most important thing, right? What does XRP do? I mean, it's a cross-border payment system, right? And it needs liquidity to be able to, transfer. So, Bitcoin is a store of value. Bitcoin is a decentralized cryptocurrency, and it was the first, and Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum is Ethereum is all of everything's basically built on Ethereum. So all of your stable coins and your smart contracts, right? That's what Ethereum, that's kind of the goal of Ethereum, right? So just know what we're investing in, what we can do with these things when they become more implemented into the real world, right? Because as of right now, there's not a lot that you can do necessarily with crypto in the real world, but there will be in the future, right? We talk about real world assets and, a tokenized real world assets. XRP is going to be right there with everybody else. Bitcoin, right? I talk a lot about how Bitcoin is going to be a wealth building tool, right? When we can leverage our Bitcoin to be able to get tax-free dollars, right? That's the whole point of this. That's the whole reason why I'm so big on Bitcoin, right? I didn't catch the very beginning in 2008 where Bitcoin was worth 9 cents, but I now have conviction and belief of what Bitcoin is today, and that's why I invest in it, okay? This is the time to get serious. Get serious with your finances. Get serious. Talk to your spouse. Talk with yourself. Figure it out. Write things down. Where can you cut money, right? Even if it's just $5 here, $20 there, right? And you consistently keep doing that, you may come up with an extra $100, $200 a month that you can invest into these things, right? It's not like you're not missing anything, right? I mean, kind of, but like, you're not really missing it. Like, we still have time. We still have plenty of time, right? Like, we're still so early in this market. We're still so early. So I do believe, even if you consistently invest in these things slowly over time, I think you'll be just fine. I heard, I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was saying that she had somebody who was doing all of her investments, and she was frustrated with what the return rate was. And I mean, I'm not going to get into the details too much, but basically she was like, yeah, this is ridiculous. So she started doing everything on her own, and she realized that how much money there was actually to be made in cryptocurrency. And when she did her own research, and she took the time to learn and how to grow in this community, and she started to realize that she was making more money in her investments than she was at her job. Like this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Take the initiative, take the time to learn and understand what you're investing in, how we can invest in it. This is the future. This is a chance to create wealth. But you have to be willing to accept that wealth. You need to learn how to create wealth, how to generate wealth, right? You got to look at people in the past, right? Like John Rockefeller. I really like John Rockefeller's story. I don't always necessarily agree with what he did, but the way he went about things was ruthless, absolutely ruthless, right? He grew up in poverty. He was not, he did not have the best upbringing, but the things that he learned throughout his childhood and into his young adulthood led him to go down a path that made him the richest man in the world, right? The things that he did was he took the initiative. He said, I will no longer go this way. I have to go this way. I cannot live like a poor man. I cannot live in constant worry. And out of necessity, he created. That is what I'm all about. And that's what I want you guys to grasp and join with me as a community, is to create. We can create, right? We don't have to be told by our investment company at the 401k, right? Like, we don't have to be told, oh, it's, this is how you do this is how you do that, or, oh, it's too complicated, just let me handle it. No, it's not that complicated, guys. It's not that complicated. Take the first step, right? Take the initiative. Put yourself in the driver's seat, right? Put yourself in the driver's seat, and you can take yourself anywhere you want. Anywhere you want. You can go wherever you want. You can go how fast or how slow you want. But you can do this. Thank you guys for listening. Please like and comment, subscribe, and I will be back with another video here soon. Thanks, guys. Later.